John Gill, Nahum chapter 1, verse 1. Reading first from the King James Bible, quote, "The burden of Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite." That's Elkoshite, unquote. John Gill, quote, "The burden of Nineveh and the greatness of it." See Gill on Jonah chapter 1, verse 2. See Gill on Jonah chapter 3, verse 3. Jonah was sent to this city to threaten it with ruin for its sins. At that time, the king and all his people humbled themselves and repented, and the threatened destruction was averted. But they, relapsing into their former iniquities, this prophet foretells what would be their certain fate. Very rightly, therefore, the Targum and some other Jewish writings observe that Jonah prophesied against this city of old, and that Nahum prophesied after him a considerable time, perhaps at 100 years' distance. This prophecy is called a burden. It was taken up by the prophet at the command of the Lord, and was carried or sent by him to Nineveh, and was a hard, heavy, grievous, and burdensome prophecy to that city, predicting its utter ruin and desolation, and which, as Josephus says, came to pass 115 years after this prophecy, and which event is placed by the learned Usher in the year of the world 3378 AM, and which was 626 BC, and by others in the year of the world 3043 AM of the flood 1747, in 601 BC, by Dean Preex and Mr. Wilston in 612 BC. The book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite. No other prophecy is called a book by this, as a Bar-Benel observes, and gives this reason for it, because the other prophets immediately declared their prophecies as Jonah's, but Nahum never went to the Ninevites, but wrote his prophecy in a book and sent it to them. It is called the book of the vision. What it contains be made known to him by the Lord in a vision, as was common. Hence, the prophets are called seers, and the prophet is described by the place of his birth, an Elkoshite, though some think he is so called from his father, whose name was Helkesi, that's Helkesi, and said to be a prophet too, as Jerome relates. And with this agrees the Targum, which calls him Naaman of the house or family of Koshi, Koshi. But Charki says that Elkosh was the name of the city. Elben Ezra and Kimchi are in doubt which to refer it to, whether to his city or to his ancestors. But there seems no reason to doubt but that he is so called from his native place, since Jerome says that there was a village in Galilee called Helkesi, that's Helkesi, in his days, and which he had seen, though scarce any trace of the old buildings could be discerned. It was so fallen to ruin, yet known to the Jews, and was shown him by one that went about with him, and which is by Hesychius, the presbyter, placed in the tribe of Simon. This is another instance, besides that of Jonah, disproving the assertion of the Jews that no prophet rose out of Galilee. John chapter 7, verse 52. Scripture quote, "The burden of Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite," unquote. End of John Gill's Nahum chapter 1, verse 1.